Sup everyone, welcome to another video. Today we're going to be talking about the Mora Mongler trade merchant Dory and why in the world does she just not feel like she belongs in any particular teams or synergies. Now I know immediately people will have the knee-jerk reaction saying like, oh Walrus, you're just not playing her right. Oh Walrus, that can't be, you just don't know what you're talking about. And I may not know the entire ins and out about the game, but what I do know is about player experience and satisfaction. I play this game for enjoyment. I don't do it through numbers and charts. I can only tell you how I feel when I'm playing a certain character and my reflections of the characters in comparison to other characters of the kind. And in my honest opinion, and I'm sure that other people have been echoing this as well, is that Dory just doesn't feel very good. She feels like she's an okay-ish character at best. And here is why. After playing her for some time, testing her in different scenarios, I've come to the conclusion that Dory is one of the unique units that suffers from a certain situation where she has close to no roles she can truly take over without it overlaying with other already pre-existing characters. What I mean by that is really simple. Hoyoverse has pretty much exhausted currently existing options in the role that Dory is supposed to be played in, right? She's a healer. Great. So now let's look at other healers that are comparable. We got Cookie Shinobu, who's already in the same element as her, which already does not bode very well. We have other healers such as Bennett. We have healers such as Kokomi, Barbara, Diona, Jean, and to a certain degree, if you slap the prototype Amber on all Catalyst users, they can heal your team. And truth be told, let me add this as well. Is a lack of healing really a problem in current Genshin Impact? We have to be honest with ourselves, right? When evaluating these characters, we have to beg the question, how important is their current role in the game? I'm going to be the first to say it. I do think that healers are extremely overrated for the most part. Many teams can function with semi-adequate healing, and also in some rare cases, pseudo healers that are like Xingqiu. As long as you have a shield and a pseudo healer, in those teams, you will be able to survive just fine. Not to mention, the healing stat is also one of the easily inflated stats on your team, meaning that if you have excessive healing, it really doesn't do much for you. You can heal for 1,000,000 HP per second. That's not going to be much better than healing 10,000 per second, because 10,000 is already way over the top for what enemies are capable of doing to your teams. So that's what I mean when I say healing is an inflated stat. If you have excessive healing, it's truly just 100% going to waste. If you have excessive HP, if you have excessive defense, excessive elemental mastery, all these stats are beneficial. So in a way, healing is like the only stat in the game where if you have too much of it, you truly are just wasting it. It adds no value to your team, and the resources that you put in to get that additional healing is just gone into the abyss. Poof, disappears. So from the get-go, Dory is already put into a role where the stat itself isn't very prioritized in this current day and age, and most great healer units offers either more damage to your team, such as Bennett, or like Kokomi's case, she serves as a great applicator, being an element that is the centerpiece of so many different core reactions in the game that the value comes inherently from that element more so than the character's kit. And of course, Kokomi can serve as a driver due to her being that specific element. And to top it all off, she has the capability of healing your entire team at the same time. All this flows very well in her kit while she's also applying application. Dory can only heal one character, albeit her healing is impressive. Characters such as Cookie Shinobu can offer enough healing but also dish out more damage. And here comes the main point of this video, right? Damage. Genshin Impact till this day is a game that is heavily reliant on dealing enough damage given within a specific time frame in order to clear the only end game that we have. Now, if you're watching to this point, you're like, oh, I don't care about that. She's cute. That's all I needed. I mean, you probably didn't watch till this point to come to that conclusion. You probably didn't even watch this video, but just understand, if a character cannot provide value in the department for damage or utility, utility, for the most part, they are going to fall flat on their face. Dory does not offer good damage nor impressive utility. Now, a lot of people would point to the fact that, oh, well, you know, she can regen energy pretty well. She can help the team cycle through their bursts very well. Well, you see, I'm glad you bring that up, because when it comes to burst, let's not even talk about her teammates. Let's talk about her own burst uptime. There's a lot of effort that goes into making sure a character with 80 costs can get their burst in a timely manner. Recently, I did in a live stream showcase that burst uptime will always outperform other stats, because for the most part, characters that revolve around their burst, and in this case, Dory does revolve around her burst. Don't sit there and tell me that her charge attack or her elemental attack is going to carry her kit. It's not. It's her burst attack, right? You want that thing up every 20 seconds, which means that you cannot shy away from the fact that you have to build energy recharge, while her kit scales off of HP. So you can truly just forget about trying to build elemental mastery or damage for her. It's just not going to work out. The stats don't align. What ends up happening is you're going to build this character for her burst uptime, whereas her burst function more as for healing than it does for damage or application. Sure, it has decent application and it has a good number of ticks to it, but the ticks themselves really just do that, barely tickling. If you want to go through the trouble of giving her a dedicated viridescent character to buff her up, then sure, be my guest, right? She can still do some levels of damage, but even after Kazuha and all the fancy schmancy things you can do, she is still hitting barely mediocre levels of damage. And now we can talk about people saying, oh, she can, you know, buff her team in the sense that you can give them back their burst faster. Well, you see, who does that conflict with, right? Right, in Shogun. That's where the conflict is as well. It's gone to the point where no matter where you point in her kit and what kind of scenario you put her in, there's always going to be a character better than her. A lot of people would then say, well, put her in a physical team, right? Put her with Eula. She's amazing. She would fill up Eula's burst skill while also continuously applying Electro on the enemy to allow Eula to endlessly and thoughtlessly proc superconduct. And to that, I would say it doesn't really matter, because Diona is already a perfect healer in that team, along with giving her shield, same element as Eula, meaning that running a sacrificial bow on Diona is going to give Eula enough particles to the point where you never really have to worry about energy regen and burst uptime. Dory doesn't fit in that team, which then finally leads me to the conclusion that Dory has to be a character that is designed for the future. I refuse to believe that Hoyoverse saw a character like Dory, planned her out, fully designed her, slotted her into the game, and thought to themselves, yeah, this is a character that's going to be amazing right now. No, no, no. Much like what they did with some of the characters from Inazuma, I think Dory's potential could be realized further down the line in the future. With her currently existing ICD issues, which prevents her from fully realizing quick and aggravate teams, as well as her semi-utility kit, where I think it just focuses on one too many things. Right now, it just doesn't feel like it's the time for Dory to shine. But I'm not here trying to stomp out a new character before they even have a chance to mature in the meta. Give it some time, much like other characters have. I think Dory may get a glow up in the future, and I've said this for many others in the past as well, and for the most part, they have turned out correct. It's just that right now, if you're thinking about picking up Dory, probably a good and smart move to completely skip over her, because this one is gonna need some time to marinate. Okay, and with all that said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope it brought some insight to how characters usually end up in the meta and scrutinize. Again, I am not a meta specific player. I am not a theory crafter. I play the game and I enjoy it from a casual perspective, and just casually, Dory isn't cutting it for me. And I'm sure it's not cutting it for most other players as well, but I'm interested in what you think about Dory. If you've had the pleasure of playing with this character and synergizing her with other teams, what are your thoughts? And until next time, I urge y'all to stay safe and peace. Bye.